सहयोगी संवाददाता हमारे साथ जुड़ गए हैं। तपस, ये तस्वीरें बहुत कुछ बयान कर रही हैं। इस समय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी अबू धाबी पहुंच गए हैं और तस्वीरें हम अपने दर्शकों को
All right, we're getting live visuals from Abu Dhabi right now. The Prime Minister has landed in the UAE. Remember, this is after a very fruitful trip to France. He's just arrived, and what's likely to be on the agenda are multiple talks. Remember, he's going to be meeting with the President shortly. But multiple talks and multiple different topics are going to be addressed. That includes energy, food security, defense. These are going to be the main focus areas which the Prime Minister is going to be discussing during his very highly awaited trip, in fact, to the UAE. Remember, the strategic partners will also be reviewing progress in trade agreements that have been inked in the past as well. We're crossing over to our foreign affairs correspondent Abhishek to get us more on this. Abhishek, so we're showing our viewers visuals of the Prime Minister who's now touched down in UAE.
One of the most important visits that Prime Minister is taking, and his visit to France, where successfully India and France had a lot of discussion on the bilateral, aspect. The UAE has been a very special for India because this is probably the fifth visit of Prime Minister to UAE, where he will be having the meeting with the senior leadership of Nahyan. And, beyond that, UAE happens to be a very close trade partner, partner which has been able to supply India essential fuels, and also strategically located. UAE has become a member of quadrilateral grouping that India, US, Israel are the other partner countries. That is I2U2. In that context, Prime Minister's visit to UAE is very important. And though this is a very short visit, the Prime Minister will be staying here for probably half a day, and there he will be having a meeting with so many of the senior leadership of, this country. But still, India's growing presence in the Gulf is something, and India's outreach to the Islamic nation is something that this visit conveys a very strong message about.
What are the key deals that we're likely to see when it comes to the Prime Minister focusing on different sectors like trade, energy as well? Because we just saw a very successful trip to France as well, where we saw mega defense deals get announced. What are we likely to see when it comes to his trip to the UAE? What can come out of that?
So clearly, the Prime Minister will be talking about a lot of geopolitical issues. Of course, fuel has been one of the issues that has marred the global economy. India happens to be dependent on 80% of its crude on import. So how to have those sustained supply of fuel from the Gulf nation is something that India would be trying to talk about. Of course, there is a huge, about 3 to 4 million Indian diaspora who live in UAE, and how to, protect their rights, how to extend them a proper civilian basic, rights and facilities in UAE as a workforce that India has been raising with UAE government in the past. And beyond that, food security. A lot of, in terms of UAE, if we say, UAE does not produce the food for its own self, and it is dependent on import. India can provide a lot of food, grain, vegetables, and other essential kitchen commodities to the UAE and other Gulf countries. So what are the ways, how can it be facilitated more? It's something that the two sides will be talking about. Prime Minister will be having a talk with Sheikh Mohamed bin Zayed, who is the president of the UAE and ruler of Abu Dhabi. This currently what is the issue in the globe, that is energy security, food security, fuel security, are three major aspects of this bilateral visit that Prime Minister Modi and President of Abu Dhabi Al Nahyan will be talking about. In terms of geopolitical issues, Russia-Ukraine war is something where India and UAE have been engaged with both the warring side in the past also, and they continue to be engaged with that. UAE is also going to be, the US ruler is also going to come to India during G20 summit level talk. So that is also another warm-up meeting that Prime Minister is currently having with UAE's ruler, because what should be the issues that G20 should discuss, what should be the common agenda that the G20 should focus, and how the global south should also get a voice in the overall communique or overall discussion and deliberation during the G20 summit is something that India has been speaking very strongly about. So far, so much so that India has also pitched for the permanent membership of African Union in the G20 grouping. So this is also something that Prime Minister may be talking with his UAE counterpart when he will be having his very crucial meeting during the day.
Now, when it comes to the itinerary for today for the Prime Minister, is there going to be any Indian diaspora event on the cards?
So far, not, but we know that there is not very well-planned diaspora event, but the UAE holds a very strong Indian diaspora, and when Prime Minister will be there, he will of course be greeted and welcomed by this strong, presence of Indian diaspora who are part of UAE's society, cultural, economy, and polity. In fact, the UAE has also allowed another Swaminathan Mandir to be built, and there has been a lot of interaction going on between the UAE's ruling side. The cultural minister of UAE had recently visited Bab's temple to review the works of the construction and overall progress of the temple. So that also says how much of accommodativeness UAE has shown to the Indian diaspora, to their values, to their religion, to their faith. And this is very rare coming from a country which has a very deep faith and deep, rule-based order coming from the Islamic tradition or the Islamic religion. But with India, there is a very goodwill. There is a lot of goodwill, and for decades, Indian workforce have been contributing in the overall progress and the growth of Gulf countries, majorly, and UAE also. So probably that is one of the reasons why UAE has shown that much of respect and regard and accommodativeness for the Indian values and Indian people's faith, and letting this permission to have this Bab's temple built in UAE is one of the reflection to that understanding that UAE has shown for Indians.
Now, typically in the past, what has the relationship of India and the UAE been like?
Clearly, India and UAE happens to be very close partner. Initially, if we talk about way back, then probably just fuel security was one of the reasons why India and UAE used to have a conversation. But over the past several decades, we have seen a very fast-changing global geopolitical landscape where Gulf countries have not essentially become part of this whole global fuel supply chain, but also their strategic advantage have also increased. So in that section, India is trying to build a very strong defense ties also with the Gulf countries, and UAE happens to be one of the major country of Gulf, and in that respect, having a very good and robust multi-faceted relationship with UAE is very important. And also, India is trying to increase its presence and in a very neutral and nuanced way in Gulf countries. And that is one reason why India is becoming part of I2U2, that is India, Israel, USA, and UAE. We have seen a summit-level virtual talk happening of this last year, and probably this year also the leaders would be meeting sometime and discuss about the overall economic progress that they can contribute to each other. And India has also promised and assured, areas of cooperation that includes agriculture, food processing, food security is one of the areas with India, UAE have been talking about in the past. So these are the issues that the leaders, when Prime Minister Modi will be meeting with the real leader of UAE, Nahyan, he will be having a conversation about, and how to increase those conversations, how to bring new dimensions to this relationship, and how to ensure that the safety, security, and the progress of Indian diaspora community who happens to be in UAE continues unabated, and they do also get basic civil rights, and they are also accorded, as per the law, of course, of the UAE, they do not have many obstacles, because many times in the past we have seen Indian workers facing some sort of issues with their employers, and UAE have been, the government of UAE have been able to, come forward and solve those issues in consultation with the Indian government. So that also tells the kind of understanding that the UAE has shown in the past for India and its people working there.
Abhishek.